You know that classic American dream story, right? Go to school, get a good job, work for 40 years, and then maybe retire at 65. But what if that whole formula is just broken? Today, we're digging into Scott Trench's book, Set for Life, and we're going to map out a whole new blueprint for financial freedom that pretty much tears up the old rulebook.
Man, that quote just hits you right in the gut, doesn't it? The traditional path is basically asking us to trade our best, most energetic years for a paycheck. We're grinding away for 40 years, all for the hope that we can finally enjoy life when we're older. It's a huge gamble. So that leads to the big, kind of radical question at the heart of all this. Why wait? I mean, seriously, what if you could squeeze that 40-year marathon into just a decade? Or, hey, maybe even 5 years? That's the wild promise we're going to break down right here, right now. To even think about that, we have to change how we measure success. So, for a second, forget about net worth. The number that actually matters is what Trench calls your financial runway. Just ask yourself this. If your paycheck vanished tomorrow, how long could you live the life you're living right now? That number, that's your real freedom score. The path to get there is basically a 3-stage game plan. First, you build a solid foundation, that first 25 grand. Then you use that to stretch your runway out to 3, 4, even 5 years, which gives you the breathing room to make bigger moves. And finally, you hit the third stage, scaling up so your money is working for you permanently. So let's dive into stage 1. This is all about mastering that first $25,000. Honestly, this is the bedrock for everything else that comes after. And here's the surprise. The journey doesn't kick off with complicated stock picks or some crazy side hustle. Nope. It starts with what's called radical frugality. The goal is simple and, yeah, kind of brutal. Save over half of every dollar you take home. And this isn't about being cheap. It's about being laser-focused and super intentional with your cash. Okay, so where does all our money go? I mean, it's so easy to get bogged down in this small stuff, but just look at this chart. For most people, housing and transportation aren't just line items. They're like a financial black hole, swallowing up almost half of their entire budget. And that is why sweating the small stuff is a total waste of energy. Look, cutting out your daily latte might save you what, $1,800 a year? But rethinking your two biggest bills, where you live and how you get around, that can free up $10,000 or more. It's about winning the war, not just the tiny battles. So, how do you actually do that? How do you attack these massive expenses? Well, this next part is all about the specific strategies that can turn your biggest costs into, believe it or not, actual cash flow. Take a good look at this number, $10,126. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the staggering, often hidden cost of the average American's commute every single year. And here's the kicker. That's not just gas and car maintenance. Almost half of that cost is the value of your time. Hours and hours stuck in traffic that you can never get back. Hours you could be earning more, learning something, or just living. When you see it like that, the solution becomes so obvious. You gotta live closer to work. Okay, next up, the big one, housing. Probably the single most powerful strategy for this is something called house hacking. It's a total paradigm shift. Instead of your home being your biggest expense, you turn it into an asset that makes you money. You buy a small multi-unit property, you live in one of the units, and your tenants in the other units, well, they pay your mortgage for you. And I mean, just look at the difference this makes in year one. It's insane. If you rent, you're just lighting money on fire. Buying a home the traditional way? Surprisingly, you're still in the red after all the upfront costs. But house hacking, your net worth is actually growing from day one. Your housing isn't just free, it's literally profitable. All right, so once you've slashed your expenses and you've built up that runway, it's time to switch from playing defense to playing offense. Now we get to focus on the accelerators, seriously cranking up your income and putting that money to work. A normal salary job feels safe, but let's be honest, it's also a bit of a cage. You get slow raises, and there's a hard ceiling on what you can earn. But once you have that financial cushion, a whole new path opens up, performance-based work. Think sales, entrepreneurship, anything where your income is tied directly to the results you produce. That financial runway you built, that's your ticket to play a game with a theoretically unlimited upside. Now, as you start investing, you have to get one distinction crystal clear in your head, the difference between a real asset and a false one. It's actually really simple. A real asset puts money in your pocket. A false asset, like that car you have a loan on, takes money out of your pocket. The whole goal is to collect a portfolio of things that pay you to own them. It all really comes down to a pretty straightforward philosophy. You never touch your principal investment. You reinvest the returns so it can compound and grow. But honestly, that last point on the slide, that's the secret weapon. Cutting a recurring expense isn't just saving a few bucks. It's like giving yourself a guaranteed tax-free return on an investment. Forever. And when you really boil it all down, this isn't about getting rich so you can buy a bunch of fancy stuff. It's about something way, way more valuable. It's about buying back your own time. It's about earning the absolute freedom to decide what you do with your life every single day. And that all leads to this final, really powerful idea from Scott Trench. We're told all the time that our options are limited. But this blueprint, it offers a totally different reality. It's a path where you build your own wealth, buy back your own time, and in the process, you earn the freedom to do pretty much anything you want.